I think we would all be fine if we would drop the word consequences from our vocabularies entirely. I'd certainly prefer it if we did. It really grates on my nerves to hear people talking about. Like, yes, I'm glad that at some point we looked around and realized, oh, hey, it's pretty crappy of us to punish children arbitrarily when they do things we don't like, and especially when it's for revenge or to hurt them. But then it's like society just went, I know, let's make sure that we punish children logically when they do things that we don't like for revenge and to hurt them. Now, I know some people will be like, but natural consequences, those are just the thing that happens when you do something. Okay, sure, fine, then why do we even need to talk about it? The natural consequence of me eating is that I have food in my belly. The natural consequence of me standing up is that now I am standing. The natural consequence of me pouring water on the floor is that now the floor is wet. Why would we need to spend so much energy conversing about this in parenting groups and in books and seminars? Water is wet, food is filling. Yes, sometimes children learn from natural consequences. Sure, that's just what normally happens from things happening in life. Trial and error, experimentation, play, which I'm obviously a huge proponent of. Everything else, the way I constantly see it used, is people looking for ways to enact punishment or retribution or hurt their kid the appropriate amount, the logical way, in order to make them get it. Would this even be a thing if it wasn't for the phrase, the consequences of their actions? My children are children. If they are struggling with something, I will help them. That's the natural consequence of them needing help. It didn't need any sanctimony from me about it. On 2 separate occasions in our lives, people close to me have sat me and my husband down and told us that they were concerned about our non-punitive relationship with our children. One of these conversations was specifically in reference to the fact that my child, who is 2 years old, on vacation, with every part of their daily life and routine disrupted, having skipped a nap and being hungry, had cried in a restaurant. A 2-year-old had cried. My husband and child went outside to walk around until the food was ready rather than sit at the table, and later these people expressed their concern that our lack of consequences for our child's behavior meant that they would grow up to insert any number of catastrophic results here. That's what this culture breeds. That's why this incenses me so much, and why I'm writing with very strong language. I usually try really hard to have a lot of grace here, and it's not that I don't also have grace here for parents and adults who I know are just doing their best and breaking old cycles and looking for new ways of doing things. I just wish I could make everybody stand exactly where I'm standing and see exactly what I see. A 2-year-old struggling doesn't need to be punished for it. And adults deciding what consequences are appropriate would still be punishment. Could I say the consequence of my child crying in a restaurant is that I take them for a walk? Sure, I could say that. That's not how anybody uses that word, and you and I both know it. The same way that nobody uses the word behavior in the sentence, can I talk to you about your child's behavior because they're lovely and kind and having them around is a delight. It's a word whose literal definition is unbiased, but it's used with bias. A 5-year-old struggling doesn't need to be hurt for it. A 10-year-old struggling doesn't need to be hurt for it. Heck, a 30-year-old struggling doesn't need to be hurt for it either, but American society is not ready for that conversation. And it has to start somewhere, so why don't we start with the most vulnerable, who depend on our protection the very most, and then work our way up.